Hey everybody, it's Jon and Katie with CW23. Today we are very humbled and very excited to have 3 survivors of the Annex security team during the Benghazi terror attacks in 2012. We have John Tig Teagan, Mark Oz Geist, and Chris Tanto Peranto. They're here to talk about the film 13 Hours, which comes out in theaters on January 15th. First of all, thank you guys for your service, and thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Now, you co-authored this novel, 13 Hours, which the movie is based on. What is your initial reaction when not only the book does so well, but you find out that it's going to be turned into a film?
Go ahead.
It's kind of surreal. You know, it's something our lives have never been out in the public. We've never had a lot of publicity, or we've always shied away from that because of what we've done and our backgrounds. And so then, starting with the book, you know, we kind of got out there and a little bit used to the media, but it's been crazy now with the movie and everything and the way that's going. So it's still getting used to it.
I'm not. I like the camera. In fact, the camera loves me,
Tanto
actually.
cam.
Yeah, it should. That's
Tanto
what it is.
cam.
It is. So, it's been fun.
Yeah.
This has been great.
Is the film pretty close to the book?
As far as you've got 13 hours that you got to put in 2 hours. So
Yeah.
you have to meld characters a bit. But it does get the brotherhood down. It gets dealing with adversity. Yeah, and it's going to get a lot of the emotions that we felt that night, which was important because the actors did such a great job learning us, learning our personalities. Of course, I have a gregarious personality. Can you imagine that? A ranger said gregarious. I did. That was my word. That was my word of the day this morning. So, but no, it was fantastic. And I think and you know, Michael Bay, of course, can do explosions and gunfire. And that's what war is. So, yeah, I think it was fairly close to what we could in the book as far as getting a 2-hour movie again with a 13-hour firefight.
Cool. Well, speaking of Michael Bay, we saw some of the footage, some of the behind-the-scenes footage, and it looks like in a lot of the shots of this behind-the-scenes footage that you guys are actually directing Michael Bay on how to direct this film to make it look like it really looked. So can you guys tell us about that, Tig?
Oh, you want me?
Did you guys actually have a lot of freedom to kind of get involved while they're shooting and say, hey, this is what it actually looked like?
Yeah, we had to throw Michael Bay in the river a couple times and take over, and, you know, because he wouldn't use Optimus Prime like Tanto wanted. But no, he did a really good job. I mean, it's the same thing as the actors of Michael Bay. He'd come up to us and ask us about certain scenes, like, "Hey, is this how this happened?" Or, and you know, he had us right there looking over his shoulder, like you saw in the little film. And I mean, it was just he did a really good job and wanted to make it as accurate as possible. And
Tell them how you cost $100,000 more on set.
Yeah.
Give me a story.
Craft service?
Yeah.
No, it was
so when they were doing the set design, they showed like an overview of, because they already had the annex already set up, and they're showing the pictures, and I kind of went in there with the set design guy. I was like, well, the wall over here is supposed to be over here, and the wall over here, and this light's supposed to be over here. And Michael Bay's just kind of in the doorway, crosses his arms, and says, well, thanks, Tig, you just cost me another $100,000.
He's like, don't worry about it. No one else has been there, so they don't know. But
We know.
he went ahead with it, and you know, and that kind of just showed us the commitment from them, him, Paramount, you know, everybody involved in this, of how they wanted to get it right.
Does it look like it really looked?
The annex definitely does. You walk onto that, and yeah, it's definitely there.
I remember being up on the roof, walking out of the roof I was at that night, and you know, I just went back. You could everything vivid from that night again. Yeah,
They even had the bed that you were laying on up there, didn't you? And the tissue?
Yeah, the bed and the tissues that I had up there, because
Because he was crying the whole night.
Exactly. Didn't we go through this with joy?
I would be crying.
That was joy. These guys couldn't hit anything, so I was shooting all their guys. It was fantastic. I was just so happy up there.
Is it difficult to be on set, and especially if things look so similar, to recreate these moments and to keep going through these horrific memories?
I mean, for the most part, it wasn't horrific. I mean, and I guess maybe that's just from our perspective. It's doing a job, and it's what we've always trained to do and what we do best. So it's just getting the job done for us.
I agree. It's not horrific. We had all of us. I had fun. I was having a blast that night. I'd go back in a heartbeat. It's what guys like us we like to do. We're in our element, and so it's reliving it again. The only thing that bothers me is that I'm not able to do it again. That's what's bothering me. It's not that, oh, it's such a terrible time out there. It's not at all. It's just, gosh dang it, I want to go back and do this, but now I can't. That's the hardest thing.
And On a serious note, your friend and partner, Tyrone Roan Woods, I mean, you guys were obviously very big heroes that night, but he was probably the biggest hero of all because he gave his life to save innocent people. If you guys had the chance to talk to him one more time, what would you say?
How would he feel about the movie, do you think?
You know, it's a good question because, I mean, Ty, even out of all of us, he was more private in that respect. I mean, he was kind of the opposite of what most of the SEALs are, and he wasn't into doing the books and that kind of thing. You know, because I used to give him heck all the time. I'm like, yeah, because he was an instructor at Buds, so I used to tell him, yeah, he was the one who taught the week after Hell Week where they learned to write books in Buds. But on a serious note, I mean, I think because this story wasn't, you know, just like we didn't want to come out and tell this story. This wasn't something that we felt that we wanted to do, but we had to do it because the left and right had taken the story and spun it into stuff that wasn't honoring the 4 Americans that died, wasn't honoring him.
Yeah.
And I think because he has that same sense of honor and dedication that he would want to tell the story and make sure that what was portrayed that night would have been portrayed in the right way since it was already brought out.
Okay.
Tell him thank you. That's what hey bro, thanks. You gave everything. Him and Glenn. Bub Doherty, another teammate of ours from Tripoli. So I think
Tig, anything to add to that?
I'm good.
Okay.
he talks.
You can tell he
Tig
talks
is
a
the
lot.
talker out of all of us.
Yeah, you'll have to stop him and hold him back sometimes.
That's why I kept him in the middle so they can't just walk off. And
Yeah.
I've only done it once.
nobody's watching. Okay.
Walked off.
I saw in another interview, one of you stated that you just felt compelled to tell this story the right way, and that's why you're doing this. What do you hope to come of doing that?
Just the truth. The truth gets out. So it's not politicized anymore. Here's the truth. That's it. Watch it. This is what happened on the ground that night. Yeah, and then the gray areas are gone. And that's the only thing we can ask for. And then people's views, however they're going to go, left, right views, down the middle, it doesn't matter. So here's the truth. All right, go on with your lives. Now you guys know actually what really happened.
Okay. So speaking of the politics of the issue, the book is, I mean, right away it says we're not really getting into politics in this book. We're just saying what happened. You guys were there. You guys have lived through all of the hearing the left and the right and everything in between. Do you guys think that, in your opinion, that there was any government officials trying to change the narrative of what happened, or do you feel like that's just been used as a political football?
Well, that's why we came out with the book instead of going straight to the press, is because they can't. The press, when you just come out and talk to them, they can twist your words and do whatever they want with it. With us doing the book, they can't do that, and everybody pretty much took it as a political football and just wanted to throw the pass and get an end zone touchdown for themselves and not worry about the 4 guys who died that night, not honor them. And you know, it's the first memorial that was ever set up by a firefighter out of California. He paid it out of his own pocket, you know. And here you are, you had an ambassador and another
Foreign Service
officer that got killed, and you know, all they said was their names, and they had a funeral, and that was it. You know, and you had 2 Navy SEALs that were, you know, doing security for the agency, and yeah, they had a little star ceremony and put it on the wall, but that was it. You know, and then they just wanted to bash each other back and forth, left and right, and kind of ticked us off. So we did the book, and you know, we just made sure it was not about the politics. It just honors the guys that sacrificed their lives that night.
Okay. You guys have anything to add to that?
No, it's kind of, you know, because I was on the rooftop when Glenn and Ty got killed. I was injured in that same explosion, or 3 explosions that got them, and seeing, and I think maybe it's a little bit more personal to me, or at least I feel it is, because they were attacking their credibility by spinning this story into something that it wasn't.
Yeah.
And it angered me. And, you know, the truth needed to be told on what happened that night. This is what happened. It's 13 hours of our life from our perspective, and that's all it is. And luckily, we've been able to partner with Paramount and Michael Bay, who saw the same thing, wanted to tell the same story that we told in the same manner. And, you know, I think it's going to be a great movie. And as Tanto said, people, you know, come see it. Don't come in here with a closed mind. Come with an open mind and find out what 4 American heroes did serving their country.
13 hours, Secret Soldiers of Benghazi is going to show that when bullets start flying, politics take a backseat.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're right or left, black, white, yellow, red, makes no difference. You're all on the same team. So I think it was pulled and ostracized. The truth was bastardized, ostracized, however you want to look at it. But we're the ones that have been able to come and say, hey, no, that didn't happen. This is exactly what happened that night on the ground. And I do feel a little bit of vindication. I think more so when the movie does come out and people actually see it. That you know what, story was really turned into something that it shouldn't have been for agendas, and now we're getting it back on track.
Yeah.
There's some people that still worry that might happen. I remember when the trailer came out, there was some controversy that the innocent people of Libya are going to be depicted in a negative light. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I mean,
the movie hasn't even come out yet. I mean, how can they even say that? And the Libyan people are not bad people. They're fantastic. They're just the terrorists are bad people. I think that was more of a spin than anything.
Yeah, because we've always said, I mean, I know I always have. I was on my third trip, my very first trip that I was in Benghazi. A lot of the stores were still closed down because, the revolution, and they're starting to open it up. And, we were out in town quite a bit because it was pretty much dead because not a lot of people were living there at the time. But they realized we were Westerners, we were Americans. They'd come up, shake our hand. They say, hey, we're glad you guys are here. And I'm honored to meet an American. And they'd buy us coffee. They'd pay for our lunch. So for the most part, I mean, I didn't mind the locals at all, really. It was just, it was kind of like being around Chicago in the 60s when the mobs, were going crazy, killing each other, and you didn't know who was in control of what, and that's pretty much what's going on there. They don't know which militia. It wasn't the government that was in control, it was the militias that were in control of certain neighborhoods or something like that. You knew something was there, you just didn't know when it was going to happen.
One thing that got glossed over after Benghazi, the day after or 2 days after, there was over 100,000 Libyans protesting against the terrorists for Ambassador Stevens. And that the movie talks about that. So if that shows the Libyan people in a negative light, then I think that's some government official from over there trying to spend something for his own benefit.
Yeah, I mean, they attacked Ansar al-Sharia themselves and killed several of them and pushed them out of Benghazi.
Okay. Well, I just have one more question. Katie, you might have another one too after this, but my final question is, as you almost lost your hand in this attack and had some other injuries, and I know all of you guys had, obviously it was a very physically taxing situation. Tell us about what it was like to endure that and go through and just push to the end. How do you do that in that situation?
It's just, you have a choice. I mean, you can either, I'm sitting on the roof and my arms, Tig's the one who saved my life. He got a tourniquet on my arm, stopped the bleeding there. And I either had to get up and climb off the roof and let him do his job and not be a burden on that, or I could sit there and bleed to death. I mean, to me, it's simple. You just get up and you do what you have to do. You have to find that drive within yourself to keep going. For me, a lot of that bases on my faith and my family.
Mine is says a lot for the training, special ops training you get. You go through you endure a lot of physical hardships just making into a SEAL team or Rangers or a Marine Force Recon team. So that gives you that basis, or at least that mindset that I've been through hell before, even if it's just in training. And then we also spent close to 10 years overseas working before that. So this wasn't our first rodeo. So you already have that I can get through this. I've been it, I've proved myself. And then it comes down to God. I'm a strong Christian. It comes down to God and faith. I can do this. Just you get it in your head that you don't want to let your brothers down either. Because if you go down, now you're a burden for your buddy next to you. So it really is easy. You just turn into a more of a, without sounding Terminator-ish, you kind of turn into a machine, and you just you go through it, and you have faith that that's what you're supposed to be doing, and God's going to get you through it, and your training is going to get you through it. But like I said, it says a lot for how well-trained special ops units are. Because even us old guys that night, because of that back training we had, we were able to push through.
Very cool.
All right.
Tig?
Well,
I got mine through the public education system, just fighting through that.
He had a hard time. He's going to get it.
How often do you try to get repayment for saving this guy's life? I mean,
Every
Every
day.
weekend.
Really?
He's like, he calls me up. He's like, yeah, my truck's kind of dirty. I need you to wash my truck. I'm like, Dude, you only saved my life once. That's it. You only get one favor. That's it.
At least I'm not making him feed my cows, so he should be happy.
Actually, he owes the world for saving his life. Gosh, dude, much better place with Mark not here. Mark's a pain in the butt. Yeah, it is annoying.
Anything to add, Katie?
Yeah, one more thing, I guess. Family seems very important to all of you. One thing that always interests me, having a father that was in Vietnam that never wants to speak about it. How do you deal with something like this with your family? Will your loved ones see this film? Will your children eventually see this film? What do you think?
Go ahead, John.
He's thinking.
Well, I know my wife's probably going to see it. Obviously, they'll be 4 by the time the movie really comes out. But so I'll probably see it when they get to see it.
When they're 10?
Yeah, they're about 10. So I got another 6 years before I'll see the movie. But
Really?
yeah, but it's as for not talking about it, has definitely been because even doing the book, it took Mitch a long time to drag a lot of stuff out. You know, and except for Tanto, I think.
I put his
Tanto,
transcriber
yeah.
through to Tahiti,
But
so many pages.
I think a lot of guys that we've even talked to on the road, they'd actually come up to us and start talking to us after we tell our story during speaking engagements, and their wife standing right there says, "Man, he's never even talked to nobody." It's just having that outlet, and now a lot of guys, they've even messaged us later saying that I feel so much better now. I had a chance to talk, and now I'm going to somebody to talk about it. And I think a lot of guys, they just need to talk about it. Yeah, they just need to talk about it. It's hard at first, but it's still going to be hard no matter what. But it relieves a lot of pressure on yourself.
It's a very cathartic process, very therapeutic.
There you go, using those big words again.
Rangers can use words. Marines, I'm sorry. I'll teach you guys when we get in the truck. We'll go through.
Spell it.
No. Cathartic. Good. No, my son is, he's the world to me. My 11-year-old, he goes to a private Christian school, and he snuck the book when it first came out. He snuck it to school, read it, and his principal actually let him do a book report on it. And then he likes to him and Pablo's son comes over. This guy's giving me crap about it. The guy that plays me in the movie, when it comes to the house, they play the Battle of Benghazi. So it's nice. My son is proud of it. I'm good with it. I don't care really what anybody else says. He's happy with it. He thinks his dad's a hero. I'm good with whatever else comes my way.
Well, you guys are heroes, and thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you.
We're extremely
Honored.
Thank you.
Honored to be in your presence, and thank you for everything you did.
Just normal guys doing a job.
Thank you guys.
We
Thank
all
you.
hope to do that. So
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and everybody, make sure you check out 13 Hours in theaters January 15th.